and go ahead and cut a small piece. And we'll just stick that to the top of the unit. The next thing that we're going to do is take the harness that we pre-wired earlier and plug it into the main control module. You want to make sure that you feel the click and make sure that the connector is pressed down and that it's firmly locked into the device. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and mount our device into the dashboard. Before we do that, take note that there is a small hole in the unit, and this is where our diagnostic LEDs are. These are the LED lights that are going to flash to tell you if your unit is working or not. At your option, you can tape these before your installation or after you're done. But you want to make sure you put a piece of tape over this, and that's just to keep the driver of the vehicle from ever seeing lights flashing through a crack in the dash and wondering what those lights are inside the vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead now and just take a small piece of tape and put it over those lights. Okay, I've got those lights taped up, and now we're ready to actually install the unit into the vehicle. First thing I'm going to do is remove the double-side tape and get that ready. And the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take the vehicle, move the steering column down, and take the vehicle out of gear. That gives me the most amount of room to work. Now you'll see that there's a metal bracket up here inside the dash. We're going to wedge our unit in between that metal and the top of the dash. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the unit and come in here like so and stick it in there to where I feel comfortable that it's going to get a good grip, and push it up in there. The unit is now mounted in the vehicle, and as you can see, all the wiring is on the back side, so we don't see anything on the front. It's all smooth and clean up here. Next thing that we're going to do is remove the headlight switch that we took out earlier. We're going to pull that out, and we're just going to take our wire connector. Next thing we're going to do is just pull out the headlight switch that we removed earlier, and we're going to begin to route our wiring down through the dash. Now it's very important that when you're wiring this unit and that you're running the wire and routing it through the dash, that you try to hide it as much as possible. These units are available to track your vehicles 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but they will not do so if the unit is not installed right or if it gets found in the vehicle. So being able to make a stealth installation where the device is hidden and the wiring is routed and hidden as much as possible is very important when you're doing the installations. We're just going to route this wiring that we have here down through the dashboard and run it in behind that switch, and we're going to send it down to the bottom of the dash where our OBD2 connector that we took loose earlier is waiting. And I'm just going to feed that wire down through the dash. This is our OBD2 Quick Connect harness. The next step is you're going to take this harness and it will plug into the factory OBD2 connector in the car that we took loose earlier. Just make sure that it snaps in and it's got a good firm connection. And then you want to take your wire that we pre-wired earlier. This is the main unit harness, and we're just going to plug that in to this unit. You'll make sure you hear a click and make sure that the connector is pressed down. Once you know you have a good connection, then the unit is actually powered up at this point. The next thing that we want to do is go ahead and start to put the vehicle back together and secure the wiring. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just feed this OBD2 harness back up into the dash where we routed the wire through earlier. And just tuck the connector up inside there so that it doesn't fall out of the dashboard. The last thing that we're going to do is remove the headlight switch once again, and we're going to see that the OBD2 plug that we fed up through the dash is there. And what we're going to do is just simply pull the slack of the wire. This is our main power harness. We're just going to pull that slack up into here, into this cavity, and we're just going to fold it over and put a zip tie on it. And all we're really doing is securing this wire so it doesn't fall out from under the bottom of the dash, or the customer doesn't see any wiring that's hanging loose below the dash of the vehicle. You can begin to put the vehicle back together.